Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And this is one of a couple requests for Kingpin. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, full playthrough, tier list ranking, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is for Broken Arrow versus Face Off. You wanted me to compare the two films? And listen, I know most people, when they watch this video, when they see the title, they will say Face Off, because that's well, a lot of people feel. A lot of people feel Face Off is better. A lot of people enjoy Face Off more. Face Off, it has some good action parts to it, to be fair. I was never a big, huge fan of the film, and I much prefer Broken Arrow. I prefer Broken Arrow for a number of reasons. Number one, when I look at the villains of the film, one's John Travolta. Well, I mean, technically, Cage and Travolta played the villain and the hero because of the whole plot. But I much prefer John Travolta's portrayal in Broken Arrow. I prefer his energy. I prefer his maniac glee. And I prefer his lines of dialogue. You know, I said, "Goddamn, what a rush." Or, "Would you mind not shooting at the thermonuclear weapons?" Or Christian Slater going, "You out of your mind, Deke." And him going, "Yeah, ain't it cool?" I just feel Travolta having so much fun and glee and excitement with his villainous performance. While Travolta in Face Off, and especially Cage in Nick Cage in particular, I just find very over the top in Face Off. I find him very over the top. I find him very goofy and silly. Some may say the same for Broken Arrow and John Travolta, but for me, Nick Cage, some people like that about it. But to me, it's almost to a point of I'm just annoyed by him. I'm irritated by him. With just him just tamping it up and bug-eyed, and even when he's the hero, when he's like being these big over-the-top expressions and faces, or "I want to take his face off," and like he has this look where Nick Cage is like here is like, "You are, I'm alright, I'm okay." And that's when he's supposed to be the good guy. And I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? And again, some people like that about it, but to me, never care for that. I mean, crazy Nick Cage can work. It doesn't for me in that film. You know, I love Nick Cage in Con Air. I love him in other movies, but that one just could never get into his performance. Could never get into his campiness in that one. I thought it was the right amount of fun, or if you want to call it camp, I thought it was the right amount in Broken Arrow and Travolta displayed. I thought it was just too much. I thought it was too big. I thought it was too just irritatingly campy for me in Face Off. That's number one. Number two, Christian Slater. I actually like Christian Slater. People find him boring, or I actually like him. I always liked Christian Slater. I liked him in Gleam in the Tube. I liked him in Cuffs. I liked him in a variety of other movies. It was cool to see him as the lead, just like he was the lead in an action film later on in Hard Rain. I thought he worked well as the hero. It was great to, at times, underplay it. And he's underplaying it more, while, again, Travolta and Cage are just very overplaying it more. The whole thing with Travolta, you know, doing this. And then when he does this, Nick Cage, that's to show the wife, oh, it really is my husband in there. But who the fuck does this? You know, just put your hand over someone and go. That's what I mean. It's stuff like that just annoys me. That just tries to amp it up, and that stuff I found just really fucking irritating. I don't know, just all those little things. So I like Christian Slater, and I like John Travolta as hero and villain, and that's what it is. The pacing of the film. I mean, Broken Arrow is 30 minutes shorter. Because Broken Arrow is about an hour and 48 minutes, and Face Off is 2 hours and 18 minutes. So Face Off is 30 minutes longer, and for me, you feel the 30 minutes. And I never care for the pacing in Face Off. I thought it was just too long. Too many spots I found slow. I didn't think the story was interesting enough to have that long of a pacing. But Broken Arrow, you get introduced to the good guy and the bad guy. You introduce their friends. They're on this mission. Something goes wrong. One tries to kill the other. They bail, and then it just goes on from there. One finds like I guess you call it a forest ranger, however you want to put her. I forget her Samantha Mathis. He finds Samantha Mathis, who was in the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie. Christian Slater does. Travolta finds the bad guys, and it really goes to me on a straightforward path, and straightforward is not a bad thing to say. Straightforward is not a knock. In this case, I think straightforward is the right answer, the right course of action. Because with Face Off, it's okay, you have the opening scene, then you think Nick Cage gets fucked up. Then you have the whole thing where he's going to pretend to be Nick Cage, but then the real Nick Cage he's awake. Then you have the whole stuff in the prison, then the escape, and then they're leaving their lives, and then Nick Cage as Travolta wants to be play the part. So then he's able to find the bomb and disarm it and be the big hero, because now he wants to be this big hero attention. But then he wants to do this stuff with Travolta's wife and kid, and sometimes I'm sitting there going, what the fuck is his plan? What is he trying to do? What is his goal? I think the straightforward path and story I just much prefer in Broken Arrow. So the plot, the 30-minute less screen time, running time, I thought that the pacing went a bit quicker. And they both have really good action sequences. They do. They both have good action sequences. Broken Arrow I probably enjoy a bit more. Because while Face Off, you have the opening. Well, not opening. Well, there's a kind of the opening, you call it, where Travolta is trying to get to Nick Cage, and you have the airplane bit. You have some shootouts here and there, some good stunt work. Nick Cage's character going up the stairs and that big explosion on the staircase. You have the boat chase, which is a pretty good boat chase. The stunt work and the action pieces in Broken Arrow always amazed me more. I enjoyed the bit with, there's like this helicopter, and the helicopter is like right near Christian Slater. Samantha Mathis is right near our two leads. And the way Slater shoots the pilot, and it's like these blades are coming more and more towards Samantha Mathis, and it barely hits her, and they both gotta get out of the way while this helicopter crashes right behind them, and it's like they're all in the same shot. I'm like, how'd they do that? That just caught my eye more. Of how they do that. That looks really cool. The shootout in the mines, where something about that felt more John Woo to me. Maybe because I like the enclosed spaces, and you got Christian Slater diving and shooting with his gun. You got the bit where someone gets shot, he grabs the grenade and throws it. Which reminds me of Van Damme catching the grenade in Hard Target. Right, he keeps that for later, but that's what it reminded me of. But I like that he dodges, someone gets shot, someone drops the grenade, Christian Slater picks it, grabs it, catches it, throws it to Travolta. Travolta gets out of the way, explosion. I know people say Broken Arrow was more John Woo trying to do an American film, so they view it as less of a John Woo movie. But I don't know, when I see like the way it opens, where you're up top and you're going towards this boxing ring, and it's a small ring, and you see nothing around it, it's getting closer and closer, and the edits are to each punch, each hit, and the real bromance, which I felt that between the hero and the villain. I felt that connection, whether they're in the boxing ring and he's beating Slater, but then Slater's doing a bit better, but doesn't go all the way, trying to pay the money. No, I don't want it, okay, because I haven't earned it. No, no, it really is your money. I stole out of your wallet. And then that money thing is a dad throughout it. The bits where, like, Tricia Slater's in a helicopter and Travolta's on the train, and they both eye each other, aim at each other, and the camera's on each of their faces and each of their eyes. To me, those are the John Woo-isms, and that bromance and then enemies, kind of like you would see in Bullet in the Head, among other films. So again, I always felt Broke the Arrow, despite the popular belief, I felt that was more John Woo, or I felt it more John Woo than Face Off. And Face Off, like the story, I was never really big. I mean, a lot of people love the sci-fi motif. One pretend to be the other. Maybe if it was two that had a more dynamic personalities of when they're copying the other. Or you had two, like Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, which was an early idea. Or if it was Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal. But I don't know, Travolta and Cage, when they become the other person, I never saw as much differences like other people did. There's certain movements they did, like the thing with the hand and stuff, but I don't know. That was never something that was awe-inspiring to me like it were for other people. The finale, I think the finale on the train is much more exciting than the finale with the boat. It is a good boat chase. Don't get me wrong. With some really good stunt work when it crashes and they both fly off. Very good work on that. But the train, where I see bits of when Tricia Slater, Samantha Mathis are together, and then Slater has to get between her legs and shoot the bad guy between Samantha Mathis's legs, or she has to use his propeller of the chopper to disarm someone. I see Tricia Slater, him actually hanging off the side of the train at the bottom and being dragged along the ground. I think that was really solid. I think that was really good stunt work. The bit where he has to swing and hits Howie Long and Howie Long goes out the train, I think that's a really good stunt work. You know, choppers are being blown up in the sky. Well, it crashes because they're going through a tunnel. Chopper blows up on the train. There's people getting shot up, squibs. Hell, there's a bit where a guy gets killed by a helicopter blade. I just had a lot more excitement in the ending with the whole train sequence. And it seemed like it had more action and more spectacle in the finale compared to Face Off, which had the bigger budget and the longer running time. And on top of that, you get this fun fight scene at the end, which you don't really get a fight scene between Travolta and Cage. They fly off, and then, the one goes, die! And that's it. Here, you get like a cool fight scene where, Travolta is beating up Slater at first, and Slater is able to get the punches in, gets a good combo, bah, bah, uppercut, back swing, and then a side kick. And the music at Face Off is fine, but the music by Hans Zimmer to me is fantastic. I think the music by Hans Zimmer is one of his best scores. You have the bits of kind of a softer bits, which hell they used for Dewey's theme in Scream 2. Bum dum dum dum, bum dum dum dum. Like they literally took it from this movie to use in Scream 2, and I think that's been used in other, might have been used in other Scream films as well. But those bits of the score is great, and the excitement, especially when Christian Slater and Travolta are having the big fight, and the music just just look up Hans Zimmer Hammerhead, which is the piece of music, and it's like near the end of that track. It's just really exciting music, and it just really gets you pumped up, really gets you excited. And so you got shootouts, you got explosions in the mines, explosions of helicopters. You get the fist fight at the end. Just much more of a fun, for me, journey of your hero and your villain. The whole hero-villain switching thing, for me, that only works if I'm really into the two lead characters, and so the switch is that intriguing. If it's not, then it doesn't really do anything for me. So it's more straightforward approach. I enjoyed the action scenes more. I thought the ending had more action, had more of an epic scale compared with the ending of Face Off. I like the stuff on the train more than the boat. I like the score more in Broken Arrow. I think it has more memorable lines of dialogue. Yeah, ain't it cool? The villain's death. I mean, the death in Face Off is just, again, they're both kind of out of it. And then one goes, die! But then you look at the villain in Broken Arrow, the death scene, you have the whole bomb being propelled, hits it, and yeah, the one shot is a dummy. It is, but you see him, the thing being a rocket and hits Travolta's character, and he comes out of the wall. And then there's an explosion, so he gets impaled by the rocket and explodes. It's such a great epic death for your villain. And I've always enjoyed Broken Arrow. I always thought it was an underrated film. I never thought it really got its kudos that it deserves. And like Face Off, I always thought it was a tad overrated. I go back and forth on whether I think it's okay or I dislike it. I go back and forth to that a lot. It's one of those things that there's just other John Woo films I enjoy more. Even American ones. Hard Target, Broken Arrow, Paycheck. Which I know people get mad. Really? Yeah, the story in that intrigues me more. So the fact that it's 30 minutes shorter, the fact that it's a faster pace, the fact that I think the music gets my adrenaline pumping more, the characters intrigue me more, the performances I like more. It was cool to see Delroy Lindo in there. It was cool to see Howie Long. I mean, I can laugh at him at least. Yeah, overall, I do like Broken Arrow more. I know I'm in the minority on that, but that's fine. Just here to give my personal opinion. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.